So what would you do if you had over $240,000 of equity in your personal home? Hey, what's up YouTube? My name is Graylan Stewart. I'm a virtual wholesaler, entrepreneur, and just overall real estate investor. So we actually fix and flip homes. We wholesale a lot of homes, and I have about 25 rentals at this time. But so today's video, I'm really contemplating this, and I definitely want y'all's feedback. So definitely drop me some comments. Let me know your opinions, or if you're an expert on the situation or not. So I've got a personal home that I live in. I live in Colorado, a suburb of Denver called Castle Rock, and we built this house. We've lived in it about 5 years, a little over 5, well, going on 6 years now, I guess. We moved in March of 2005, so it's been a little while now. So anyway, but now we've got like $240,000 worth of equity in the property itself. Okay, so we're actually building another house right now, just down the road, literally 2 blocks down from where we are. Obviously, it's a lot more expensive house. This house was always a kind of a 5 to 6 year house for us, because if you don't know my story already, I lived in 2 different states for 8 years. I lived in Oklahoma, and I also lived in Colorado for 8 years straight, literally on a plane every Sunday, going back and forth. So I actually moved here to Colorado full time September of last year, because I was just waiting on my kids to grow up, and they're both in college now. So that was the main reason that I was going back and forth. I didn't want to leave my kids, but my wife was in Colorado, so I lived in both places. So that gives you a little backstory. But so now we're actually building a house that really suits our needs, as opposed to when we built this house, we really bought it out of necessity. Because when we bought this house 5 years ago, the market was super hot. I guess it's almost 6 years ago. The market was super hot then, kind of like it is now. In Colorado, it's honestly, it's been hot probably for the last 7 years or so at least. But in this area, the reason we built the house that we're in is every house that we wanted, that we were trying to buy, we kept getting outbid. But the difference was back then, we were getting outbid by 15 to 30,000 over asking every time. Usually the way it worked back then is somebody would list their house on a Friday, they'd have showings on Saturday and Sunday, and then Monday they would decide what offer they wanted to take, because they would literally have 15 to 20 offers on Monday. So we bid 15 or 20 grand on every house, and we got outbid every single time, because usually they were going for closer to 30,000 over back then. So now the situation is different. We were looking again because like I said, this house that we built out of necessity, because we knew we couldn't get outbid, so we locked our price in. And back then building was still fairly affordable. So anyways, we have this house now. We've got like 240,000 of equity roughly in this property, a little bit more than that, but so I'm contemplating. So all along I wanted to keep this house. So we're building the new house to fit our needs more. So we actually have extra bedrooms for when the older kids come to visit, or when any friends and family come into town. We actually have 2 extra spare bedrooms now, in addition to a lot of other space that they could be in. But so this house now, I told my wife all along that I preferred to keep it. I'm an investor, passive income, real estate. That's what I do, right? So I wanted to keep it all along, but here's, my wife wanted it. She wanted to get rid of it. Okay, she wanted to sell it. She only wants to own the one house for a personal house, which I agree. Personal house, we only want one house, right? But what I'm proposing to her is I want to actually have my company buy this house from us, not for retail, of course, but not less than we paid either. Because we can just pay maybe 20 grand over what we owe on it, so that we personally will still make $20,000 on the house. But then my company would own the asset at that point, and it's all us either way. But technically speaking, my company would own it. I could get a mortgage on it for 80% of the value, and still have close to $100,000 worth of equity into the property. Then, we pretty much bought everything brand new for this new house. Some of our favorite things and this and that we're keeping, obviously transferring over to there. But I just started thinking, this house would be a perfect Airbnb, right? This is definitely a sought out area. It's a suburb of Denver, but there's a lot happening in Castle Rock itself as well. Worst case scenario, this house could definitely rent for $3,000 a month. So we could definitely make several, a few hundred, I guess, $300 or $400 a month in cash flow. But Airbnb wise now, I've had Airbnbs in the past, and if you missed that video, you should check out the video. I think I titled it My Airbnb Nightmare, because I actually owned 6 Airbnbs when the pandemic started. So I don't own those. I own the houses still, but they're all rent-to-own properties now. I sold all the furniture. But anyways, since we're buying all new furniture anyways, we got a huge storage unit full of stuff. All the big items, thank goodness, all the big furniture items, all the furniture stores in Denver mostly have all agreed to just keep it until we move. So we were originally supposed to move end of August, early September, and here we are, October at this point. But then they kept pushing it back. Now they're telling us early December. So that's just the way it goes. I knew all along, I'm like, I'll just be happy if we get in by the end of the year. That's just kind of, I'm a realist, I guess. I knew things get delayed, and that's just the way it is. And I'm in this business. I flip houses, and they never go, typically hardly ever go on time that you want, right? Or on budget. So anyways, I started thinking, like, we could Airbnb this house. We wouldn't even have to furnish it. I mean, this is my office down here. I'm in the basement, which is technically, it's like a movie room / game room / my office, right? So it's a huge room, but it's all kind of different sections, like the game room section over there. I've got the movie room section over here, and then this whole corner is kind of just my office area in this house. But nevertheless, like the desk I'm using right now, the desk back there, even those computers, like this 2 couches in here, the entertainment center, our air hockey table, all the stuff hanging on the walls, the posters and the decor and all that. We're not keeping any of it. We bought new bedroom set for our bed. We bought 2 new bedroom sets for the extra bedrooms. So it's like we have all this furniture. We even bought a new dining room set. I mean, everything. We could literally keep all the furniture in this house here because we would have to sell it anyways. So the plan was to list this house when we were about 60 days out, because it'll sell in a weekend still. The only difference is now houses are selling 40, 50, 80 to 100 grand over ask, which is nuts. So technically we could probably even sell it for way more than the equity that I'm saying we're in. The equity that I say we have right now is kind of just the fair market value right now. But if we sold it, we probably would make more. But my point is, we could still get the money out that she wants, but it would be tax-free, because then my business would own it. Let's say my business bought it from ourselves, and then I put a loan on that property, a cash-out refi, because I buy it, with technically I could use cash or hard money or some kind of short-term loan or whatever, and then we refi out of it, pull all that cash out tax-free because it's part of the loan. So she would still get the money that she wanted. I don't know why she wants it. I think she wants to put it down in the new house, which we technically still could do that if we wanted to, because then I could just pay myself a bonus from the business, from the cash out refi. So we could still get probably a 100, 150, maybe up to 200 grand on the cash out refi. My business could pay myself just a bonus, of however much. We could still use that money for part of the down payment if she wants to, or we're buying hot tubs and everything else, which we already paid for. But so technically, my point is this, and drop your comments, because I'm seriously asking this and wanting feedback, because it seems to me like the smart thing might be to keep this house, right? Obviously, she wants to take advantage of the market because it's super hot. Hasn't been this hot in forever, which is really strange, right? But at the same time, if we can get more than asking for a house, why wouldn't we do that? And we've lived here for 5 years, so there's, You don't have to worry about the 2 years or less, capital gains or whatever it is. I don't even know all those rules, to be honest. But I know that you wouldn't have to do a 1031 exchange because you don't have to worry about that because we've lived in it for more than 2 years. Anyways, so my point is, should I sell it? We're done with the house. We get all that cash. Some of it we'll put on some down payment. Some of it, I guess, buy other investments or whatever it is. But then we don't have the house anymore. Or should I keep it? Technically, we would have to buy some things to furnish it, but it'd pretty much already be fully furnished because we bought everything new already for the new house. And we get the cash, not quite as much, but almost the same amount of cash out as we would have. But this time it's tax-free, so when you factor that in, we would actually get just as much or maybe even more because there's no tax on it. But also, then I'd have one more rental that still has equity, and it'd be another cash flowing asset. So even if I turn it into a regular rental, we can make $300, $400, $500 a month on a rental, or I can Airbnb it and probably make $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 a month as an Airbnb. So my point is, if I kept it, we get the cash that she wanted. I'd have another asset that's still going to appreciate, and we get to depreciate it right off the taxes, and it's going to cash flow like crazy, and we own it, forever. Or we can just go ahead and sell it, pay the taxes on the big lump sum we're going to get from selling it, and then we don't own it anymore. So what do y'all think? What do y'all think is better? I'm really contemplating this because obviously she wants to do, just get rid of it and be done with it. But it's a great house. It's super nice. It's not some giant fancy house, but it's, roughly 3,000 square feet. It's got a wood deck on the back. It's got a full finished basement, which is where I'm at now. So it's 3 levels, because it's got a first level, second level, and basement. Super nice house in every way. And, we built it brand new. So it's perfect, pristine. And I'm typically a neat freak, so it's always in perfect condition, right? Perfectly kept up and everything. So we could sell it for top dollar, probably more than retail. So instead of $240, we could probably walk away with closer to $300 just because of the way the market is. People are going to pay more than it's even worth, and they pay the difference in cash because they can, which is crazy. So we can do probably, let's just say it like this: $300 in our bank, pay the taxes. I don't even know what the tax rate would be. Let's just say it's 30%. 300,000 times 30%, that's 90 grand. So we walk away with 210 grand cash, right? Or I sell it to my company. We personally make 20 grand. Then I can refi out of it. We could probably pull out 150 tax-free compared to the 210. So yeah, we're going to walk away with 60 grand less in our pockets, but we still have equity in the house that our business owns that's going to pay us every month forever. And I would do Airbnb because we already have all the stuff. And I still have tons of things from my Airbnbs in Oklahoma, as far as sheets go, mattress protectors, all those kind of things, the little soaps, all of it, the whole nine. I've got all of that stuff still in storage. So we could keep the asset at that point and just let it cash flow forever, and it's going to appreciate. And that's one more thing that's going to help us not pay taxes because of the depreciation that you can write off. So anyways, that's really it. I'm legitimately asking your comments, maybe your expertise. Maybe you're more fluent in that aspect of it. So I've never really kept a personal house and turned it into an actual cash flowing asset before. I buy houses all the time to flip and for rentals and to wholesale, but I've never actually bought a house for myself from personal to business and then turned it into an awesome asset. So let me know your thoughts. Hopefully you found value in this. If you did, give me a thumbs up. If you thought this video sucked, give me a thumbs down. I got thick skin, I can take it. So anyways, thanks for watching. I appreciate you very much. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next video.